Good evening, friends. Am I audible? Okay. So today we'll be starting with company account. First, we'll have some notes relating to this company account. Like partnership, we'll have a consolidated notes. So give the heading as company accounts. Company accounts. We are going to discuss about two things. One is about share capital. Another one is about debentures. One is about share capital. Another one about debentures. Company accounts. So one is about share capital. Two classification. One is about share capital. Another one about debenture. Today, first we are going to discuss about share capital. In share capital, first of all, what is capital? Capital is nothing but the money contributed by the owner, we call it as capital. In a business, normally we have two person, one is owner, another one is business. Okay, we are doing accounting from whose point of view? We are doing accounting from business point of view. So business has received some money from owner. Such money we call it as capital. In case of company, the total capital of the company we call it as total capital of the company.
Recording in progress.
Total capital of the company. Total capital of the company is called as share capital. Total capital of the company is called as share capital. Just a minute, pa. So total capital of the company we call it as share capital. This share capital, this share capital is divided into share capital is divided into equal part. Such equal part we call it as share. Such equal part we call it as share. For example, total capital of the company is 5 lakh. This 5 lakh is divided by 10,000 shares. Every part will be called as what means share. Total capital of the company we call it as share capital. total capital of the company we call it as share capital. அதோட equal part we call it as share. Okay, so various types of share capital we have. First of all, what are the various types of share capital? First capital we call it as authorized capital. What are the types of share capital? Types of share capital. The maximum capital we call it as authorized share capital. Authorized capital. Authorized capital is nothing but the maximum capital which the company can raise is called as authorized capital. This authorized capital is mentioned in MOA capital clause. In capital clause, this authorized capital will be mentioned. In authorized capital அதுல ஒரு part is issued capital. What is issued capital? Issued capital is a part of authorized capital. In issued capital we have one part, it is subscribed by public, so that is called as subscribed capital. Subscribed capital la ஒரு part, it is called up capital. Called up capital la ஒரு part, it is paid up capital. It is paid up capital. So in other words, paid up capital is called as called up capital minus calls in arrear. We call it as paid up capital. So maximum capital we call it as authorized capital. அதுல ஒரு part issued capital, அதுல ஒரு part subscribed capital, subscribed capital ல ஒரு part called up capital, called up capital ல ஒரு part it is paid up capital. So in our discussion most of the places la we will be using this paid up capital. That is why I wanted to learn this paid up capital. What is paid up capital? Paid up capital is nothing but called up capital minus calls in arrear will give you paid up capital. So various types of share capital. First capital authorized, second issued, third subscribed, fourth called up, fifth paid up capital. Okay, then in this chapter overall pathina what we are going to discuss about issue of shares. We are going to discuss about what? Issue of shares. Shares can be issued for two purpose. Issue of shares can be of two classification. What are the two classification? Shares can be issued for cash. Second one, shares can be issued for consideration other than cash. Shares can be issued for cash or shares can be issued for consideration other than cash. ஒன்று ஷேர்ஸை கேஷுக்கு இஷ்யூ பண்ணலாம், otherwise we can issue the shares for consideration other than cash. Shares issued for cash. In this again we have two classification. One is it is lump sum. Full amount we can collect in one stroke, or it can be issued in installment. The amount can be collected in lump sum or it can be collected in installment. If the amount is collected in lump sum, we will have a single journal entry: bank account debit to share capital. Bank account debit to share capital. Like that we will be passing some journal entry. Predominantly in this topic we are going to discuss about issue of shares for cash and that too what na installment. Okay, this is what major we are going to discuss. So in this regard we need to learn many things. Adala first one, and issue of shares for consideration other than cash irukalla, idhula we can have two classification. Shares can be issued for purchase of asset Shares can be issued for purchase of asset, or it can be issued for promoters. Shares can be issued for purchase of asset, or it can be issued for promoters. Installment, we have totally three installment. First installment we call it as application. Second installment we call it as allotment. Third installment we call it as call. So first installment application, second installment allotment, third installment we call it as call. In this relating to application, we have some special provision. What is that special provision? Minimum application money. Minimum application money. How much amount you should have? Application kaga minimum how much you should have? In this we have two classification. Minimum application money. One as per Companies Act, another one as per SEBI guidance. As per Companies Act, it is 5% of face value. 5% of face value. As per SEBI guidance, it is 25% of issue price. 25% of issue price. Appa we need to know what is issue price. Appa for this we need to know one more thing, types of issue. Types of issue. We have totally three types of issue. First type, issued at discount. Second one, issued at par. Third one, issued at premium. Issued at discount, issued at par, issued at premium. What do you mean by issued at discount? Issue price less than face value. Issued at par. Issue price equal to face value. Third one, issued at premium. Issue price is greater than face value. So FV means face value. So three types of issue. What are the three types of issue? Issued at discount, issued at par, third one issued at premium. Okay. Next, types of subscription. Next one, types of subscription. Three types of subscription we have. First one, under subscription. Second one, full subscription. Third one, over subscription. Under subscription meaning number of shares applied. Number of shares applied is less than number of shares issued. Number of shares applied is less than number of shares issued. Full subscription. Number of shares applied is equal to number of shares issued. Number of shares applied is equal to number of shares issued. Oversubscription. Number of shares applied is greater than number of shares issued. Number of shares issued. So three types of subscription: under subscription, full subscription, and over subscription. Next important thing, issue of shares. Accounting treatment for accounting treatment for accounting treatment for issue of shares. Accounting treatment for issue of shares. For cash within bracketல installment. This is very important. Literally this topic is full of journal entry. So relating to this you need to learn the journal entry. First entry, it is receipt of share application. It is receipt of share application. Entry, bank account debit to share application. Bank account debit to share application. Second one, heading, transfer of share application to share capital. Transfer of share application to share capital. What is the entry? It is share application account debit to share application account debit to share capital. Next, third one, rejection of share application. Rejection of share application. What is the entry for rejection of share application? It is share application account debit. It is share application account debit. Share application account debit to bank. Share application account debit to bank. Next, fourth one, share allotment due entry. Share allotment due entry. It is share allotment account debit. Share allotment account debit to share capital. Share allotment account debit to share capital. Next, fifth entry, receipt of share allotment. Receipt of share allotment. It is bank account debit to share allotment. Bank account debit to share allotment. Next, application over, allotment over. Next, call. Share call share call due, share call due. Entry: share call account debit, share call account debit to share capital, share call account debit to share capital. Last one, receipt of share call, receipt of share call. Entry: bank account debit, bank account debit to share call, bank account debit to share call, bank account debit to share call. So journal entry we discussed. I have just given the journal entry. Also few more things. It is just a minute. Page load out. Over subscription. It is over subscription. Already first meaning சொன்னேன். One more time meaning. Number of shares applied, number of shares applied is greater than number of shares issued. Second one, accounting treatment, accounting treatment. Three classification for accounting treatment. First one, full allotment, full allotment. Second one, full rejection. Third one, pro rata, pro rata allotment. So full allotment entry: share application account debit to share capital. Full rejection entry: share application account debit to bank. Pro rata: share application account debit to share capital to share allotment, to share capital to share allotment. Next, discount on issue of shares. Next, discount on issue of shares, discount on issue of shares. First classification, meaning: issue prices less than face value, issue prices less than face value. It is a capital loss, it is a capital loss. Accounting treatment, accounting treatment have two classification: allotment, call. Allotment இருந்தா entry: share allotment account debit, share allotment account debit, discount on issue of shares account debit, discount on issue of shares account debit to share capital, share allotment account debit, discount on issue of shares account debit to share capital. If it is call stage, share call account debit, share call account debit, discount on issue of shares account debit, discount on issue of shares account debit to share capital, discount on issue of shares account debit to share capital. Third one, presentation, presentation in financial statement, presentation in financial statement have two classification. One is allotment, another one is call. Allotment are share allotment will come in asset side, discount will come in asset side, share capital will come in liability side. In balance sheet, share capital will come in liability side, share allotment will come in asset side, discount will come in asset side. If it is adjusted in share call, if it is adjusted in share call, balance sheet la share call will come in asset side, discount will come in asset side, share capital will come in liability side. So accounting treatment over, meaning over, presentation over. ஆனால் இதில் சம்மு மட்டும் கிடையாது. Because as per section 53, as per section 53, issue of shares, issue of shares at discount is void. Issue of shares at discount is void, except sweat equity shares, except sweat equity shares, except for sweat equity shares. As per section 53, issue of shares at discount is void except sweat equity shares. Next, last one, premium on, last one, premium on issue of shares, premium on issue of shares. First one, meaning, premium on issue of shares, meaning issue prices more than face value, issue prices more than face value. Second, accounting treatment, second one, accounting treatment. We have premium, it is a capital profit, this premium is a capital profit. Issue of shares at premium is a capital profit. See, for everything we will have a discussion, for everything we will have a discussion. Okay, first I wanted to have a consolidated notes. Consolidated notes means on the date of examination you should not have entire book and all. In the notes oda ஒரு few pages, ஒரு 4 or 5 pages, whatever things we need to know relating to company accounts, it should be there in this 4 or 5 pages. For partnership I have given already. So same way ஒரு 10 pages 15 pages le entire thing should be there. So accounting treatment, So I have three classification for accounting treatment. First one, application. I will have a discussion. எல்லாமே டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ணுவேன். ஸ்வெட்டி கிட்டி ஷார்ட்ஸ்னா என்ன எல்லாமே டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ணுவேன். அப்ளிகேஷன், அலாட்மெண்ட், கால். See, டிஸ்கவுண்ட்ல ரெண்டு தான் இருந்தது, அலாட்மெண்ட் அண்ட் கால். பட் for premium we have three things: application, allotment and call. Just a minute, the page will load. Application. For application, share application account debit to share capital to securities premium. Share application account debit to share capital to securities premium. Allotment இருந்தா share allotment account debit to share capital to securities premium. Share allotment account debit to share capital to securities premium. If it is share call, entry share call account debit to share capital to securities premium. Share call account debit to share capital to securities premium. Just a minute. When I change the color, it is taking time to load. Next, one, accounting treatment over. Next one, presentation in financial statement. Presentation in financial statement. So again we have three classification: application, allotment, call. Application, allotment and call. So application, share application will come in asset side, share capital will come in liability side, securities premium in liability side. Share allotment in asset side, share capital in liability side, securities premium in liability side. If it is call, share call in asset side, share capital in liability side, and securities premium in liability side. That's all. So accounting meaning over, accounting treatment over, presentation over. One important section, very important one, it is usage of securities premium. Usage of securities premium, section 52. Usage of securities premium, section 52. Very important one. Usage of securities premium, section 52. Okay. So in this, below this, write usage of securities premium. Usage of securities premium. It is usage of securities premium. Section 52. Usage of securities premium. Very, very important one. Section 52 have two classification. One is companies not covered under section 133. Second one, companies covered under section 133. One is companies not covered under section 133. Another one, companies covered under section 133. If it is companies not covered under section 133, first point, to issue fully paid bonus shares. இதெல்லாம் MCQல கேட்பாங்க. Okay, so to issue fully paid bonus share. Second one, to write off share issue expense. To write off share issue expense. Third one, to write off preliminary expense. To write off preliminary expense. Fourth one, to adjust against premium on redemption of shares. To adjust against premium on redemption of preference shares. To adjust against premium on redemption of preference share. Last one, fifth point, to buy back own shares. Five purpose, to issue fully paid bonus share, to write off share issue expense, to write off preliminary expense, to adjust against premium on redemption of preference share, and buy back own share. For companies covered under section 133, first one, to issue fully paid bonus shares. First point same, to issue fully paid bonus shares. Second one, to write off share issue expense. Third one, to buy back own shares. Everything we will discuss, don't worry. Okay, usage of securities premium. Securities premium oda usage. Next one, calls in arrears. Just a minute. Calls in arrears. First point, meaning of calls in arrears. Second point, it is how this interest on calls in arrears to be calculated. Third one, accounting treatment. எல்லாமே ஒரே இவ்வளோ விஷயம் சொல்றது ஒரே சம்ல கூட வரலாம். ஓகே, நம்ம டீடைல்டா we are having a notes. Any installment becomes due but not received. Any installment becomes due but not received. Interest on calls in arrear. What is calls in arrear? What is the period for which it should be calculated? What is the rate it should be calculated? Three things: calls in arrear, period, and rate. So it is first one, number of shares multiplied by installment not paid. Number of shares multiplied by installment not paid. What is the period? Interest calculated from due date till date of receipt. Interest is calculated from due date till rate of receipt. What is the rate at which it should be given? Table F provision shall apply. இதெல்லாம் MCQல கேட்பாங்க. Okay, and what is the if article silent, it is 10%. If articles is silent, இதுவும் கேட்பாங்க. Okay, so meaning interest, accounting treatment have two classification. One is for calls in arrears, another one is for interest on calls in arrears. One is for calls in arrear, another one is for interest on calls in arrear. Calls in arrears will come in calls in arrears account debit to respective call. Calls in arrears account debit to respective call. Receipt அப்ப bank account debit to calls in arrears. Bank account debit to calls in arrears. Bank account debit to calls in arrears. Interest on calls in arrears entry shareholders account debit to interest. அடுத்த entry bank account debit to shareholders. First one shareholders account debit to interest on calls in arrears Second entry bank account debit to shareholders. Third entry it is interest on calls in arrears account debit to P&L account, statement of P&L. Interest should be transferred to statement of P&L. So calls in arrears ku 2 entry, interest on calls in arrears ku 3 entry. First entry shareholders account debit to interest on calls in arrears. Second entry bank account debit to shareholders. Third entry interest on calls in arrears account debit to P&L. Same thing we have for calls in advance. Calls in advance. First one meaning what do you mean by calls in advance? Just a minute. Calls in advance installment received installment paid by the installment paid by the shareholder but not due, but not due. Installment paid by the shareholder but not due. Second one, interest. Three classification: calls in advance, month and rate. Calls in advance, month and rate. What is calls in advance? It is number of shares into installment paid in advance. Number of shares into installment paid in advance. Month, from date of receipt till due date. Rate, table F provisions shall apply if articles is silent, 12% is the rate. So meaning over, interest over. Last one, accounting treatment. Accounting treatment. So in accounting treatment, I have two classification. One for calls in advance, another one for interest on calls in advance. Calls in advance. Bank account debit to calls in advance. Bank account debit to calls in advance. Second one, calls in advance account debit to respective call. Calls in advance account debit to respective call. Calls in advance account debit to respective calls. Next, interest. Interest account debit to shareholders. Interest account debit to shareholders. அடுத்த entry, shareholders account debit to bank. Shareholders account debit to bank. Last, P&L account debit to interest. Last, P&L account debit to interest. So around 45 minutes we have taken just for giving the notes. Still last 10 minutes for last 5 minutes for this forfeiture and reissue alone. It is forfeiture of shares. Forfeiture of shares. First one, meaning cancellation of share cancellation of share for non-payment of any installment. Cancellation of share for non-payment of any installment. Second, procedure. Installment not paid. 14 daysல notice, still not paid, then forfeiture of shares. Then last of forfeiture of shares. So procedure over, meaning over. Very important one, accounting treatment. இதுல தான் நிறைய கொஸ்டின் கேட்டிருக்காங்க. இந்த பர்டிகுலர் சின்ன ஒரு 1 பேஜ்ல இருந்து தான் நிறைய கொஸ்டின்ஸ் கேட்டிருக்காங்க. அக்கவுண்டிங் ட்ரீட்மெண்ட். 2 classification. Securities premium received, securities premium not received. Securities premium received, securities premium not received. If securities premium is received, entry share capital account debit to unpaid calls to forfeited shares. If securities premium is received, simple entry share capital account debit to unpaid calls to forfeited shares. If securities premium is not received, share capital account debit, securities premium account debit to unpaid calls to forfeited shares. To forfeited shares. To unpaid calls to forfeited shares. Last part, final thing, reissue of forfeited shares. Reissue of forfeited shares. Okay, first one, meaning. Reissue of shares is not equal to issue of shares. Reissue of shares is not equal to issue of shares. Both are not same. Accounting treatment. Very important. Accounting treatment. 3 classification. First one, discount. Second one, par. Third one, premium. Discount entry, bank account debit, forfeited shares account debit, bank account debit, forfeited shares account debit to share capital. If it is at par, bank account debit to share capital. If it is at premium, bank account debit to share capital to securities premium. Bank account debit to share capital to securities premium. Third segment, maximum discount is equal to amount forfeited. Maximum discount is equal to amount forfeited. நிறைய வாட்டி இந்த question கேட்டிருக்காங்க. Maximum discount. Also below this write minimum. இதுவும் நிறைய வாட்டி கேட்டிருக்காங்க. Minimum reissue price. Minimum reissue price is equal to called up value minus amount forfeited. Called up value minus amount forfeited. Below that write gain on forfeiture minus loss on reissue. Net amount transferred to capital reserve. Net amount transferred to capital reserve. சரி, so entry for capital reserve. It is forfeited shares account debit to capital reserve. That's all. Notes part given for share capital. Shares oda notes full given. So daily basis la neenga revise பண்ணும்போது இத நிறைய times revise பண்ணுங்க. You will get more confidence in this company accounts. So இப்போ இத வந்து discuss பண்ண போறோம். ஒரு segment-ஆ discuss பண்ணுவோம். Plus problems also we will solve now. Around 1 hour we have taken just for giving the notes. Notesக்கு மட்டுமே ஒரு 1 hour spend பண்ணியிருக்கோம். So இப்போ discussion we will have. First discussion. Go to the first page, first starting thing. So what is the first thing we discussed? Company accounts அப்படின்னு சொல்லும்போது what I told you, company accountsல totally we have two parts pa. What are the two parts in company accounts? First part 1 is about share capital. Part 2 is about debentures. Now we are discussing only about what mean share capital. First I said what is capital. Capital is the money contributed by the owner. Owner gives some amount to the business. Such money we call it as capital. Capital is a liability. Total capital of the company we call it as share capital. Okay, in the share capital oda each and every equal part we call it as what na share. Okay, collectively it is called as share capital. Each and every equal unit is called as share. Various types of share capital. The maximum capital we call it as authorized capital. Authorized capital ki innoru name, it is nominal capital. Where this capital will be mentioned, it is mentioned in the MOA, Memorandum of Association. Adula capital clause la this will be mentioned. authorized capital ஒரு part issued capital, issued capital ஒரு part subscribed capital, subscribed capital ஒரு part called up capital, called up capital ஒரு part paid up capital. This is the amount paid by the shareholders. Paid up capital is nothing but called up capital minus calls in arrear. Called up capital minus what? Calls in arrears will give you paid up capital. So in the topic issue of shares, overall what we are going to learn, just two things. One is issue of shares for cash, another one issue of shares for consideration other than cash. ஒன்று ஷேரை இஷ்யூ பண்ணிவிட்டு நான் கேஷ் வாங்கலாம், ஆர் ஐ கேன் இஷ்யூ ஷேர் அண்ட் ஐ கேன் பர்ச்சேஸ் சம் அசெட், or I can issue shares to promoters. For this purpose I can issue the shares. அப்போ டோட்டலாக two classification we have. What are the two classification? Either shares can be issued for cash or shares can be issued for consideration other than cash. In this shares issued for cash we have two entry. One is lump sum, another one is installment. When it is lump sum, what is the journal entry? Bank account debit to share capital. Normally sole proprietor form of business we discussed entry as bank account debit to capital. Here the entry is bank account debit to share capital. So when shares are issued in lump sum, entire amount is collected in one stroke. Appa what is the entry? Bank account debit to share capital. That's all. But when the shares are issued in installment, we have totally 3 installment. What are the 3 installment? First installment we call it as application, second installment we call it as allotment, third installment we call it as call. இதில் first application இருக்குல்ல, இந்த applicationக்கு how much should be the minimum application money? How much should be the minimum application money? ஒரு ஷேரோட application price எவ்வளோ ஃபிக்ஸ் பண்ணணும் மினிமமா? how much to be fixed? We have totally two classification. As per Companies Act it is 5% of face value. As per SEBI guidance it is 25% of issue price. As per Companies Act it is 5% of face value. As per SEBI guidance it is 25% of issue price. What is issue price? Issue price na it is face value plus premium or face value minus discount is called as issue price. What is issue price? Face value plus premium or face value minus discount. What is called as face value? ஒரு ஷேரோட ஃபேஸ்ல what value is mentioned, that is called as face value. Okay, for example ஷேரோட price is 10, face value is 10, but it is traded in the market at 13 rupees. அப்போ எக்ஸ்ட்ராவா we collected 3 rupees. That 3 rupees is called as premium. ஷேரோட price is face value 10, ஆனால் மார்க்கெட்டில் it is traded at 8 rupees. அப்போ how much is the discount? 2 rupees is the discount. So அப்போ டோட்டலாக 3 types of issue we have. What are the 3 types of issue? First type of issue issued at discount, second type of issue issued at par, third type of issue issued at premium. So tell me what are the 3 types of installment? First 3 installment we have. What are the 3 installment? Application, second installment we call it as allotment, third installment we call it as call. இப்போ next பார்த்தது 3 types of issue. What are the 3 types of issue? Issued at discount and issued at par and issued at premium. What do you mean by issued at discount? Issue price is less than face value. Already I told you ஒரு ஷேரோட price face value 10, ஆனால் issue பண்ணது 8 rupees. அப்போ that is called as discount. What do you mean by par? Issue price is 10, face value is also 10, that is called as par. What do you mean by premium? Issue price is 13, face value is 10, that is called as premium. So two things we discussed. What are the two things we discussed? One is 3 types of installment. Tell me what are the 3 types of installment? Application, allotment, call. 3 types of issue: discount, par, premium. Discount, par and premium. Next, very important, three types of subscription. Three types of subscription. One is under subscription, full subscription, over subscription. Under subscription, full subscription, over subscription. So என்னென்ன விஷயம் இப்போ வரைக்கும் படிச்சிருக்கோம்? ஒரு consolidation. Total capital of the company we call it as share capital. This share capital is divided into equal part, that is called as share. Various types of share capital. The maximum capital is called as authorized capital. The authorized capital க்கு இன்னொரு நேம் nominal capital. அதில் ஒரு பார்ட் authorized capital ஒரு பார்ட் issued capital. Issued capital ஒரு பார்ட் subscribed capital. Subscribed capital ஒரு பார்ட் called up capital. Called up capital ஒரு பார்ட் paid up capital. What is paid up capital? Called up capital minus calls in arrears will give you paid up capital. Called up capital minus calls in arrear will give you paid up capital. Three types of installment. What are the three types of installment? One is application, second one allotment, third one call. Three types of issue. What are the three types of issue? Issued at discount, issued at par, and issued at premium. Three types of subscription. What are the three types of subscription? Under subscription, full subscription, over subscription. Under subscription, full subscription, and over subscription. What do you mean by under subscription? Meaning of under subscription: number of shares applied is less than number of shares issued. You issued 10,000 shares, but public subscribed for 9,800 shares. This is called as under subscription. What do you mean by full subscription? You issued 10,000 shares. Public also subscribed for 10,000 shares. That is called as full subscription. What do you mean by over subscription? You issued 10,000 shares, but public subscribed for 12,000 shares. This extra 2,000 we call it as over subscription. Extra 2,000 we call it as over subscription. இப்போ journal entry க்கு வந்துட்டோம். Examல questions கேட்கும்போது they will ask questions on journal entry. What is the accounting treatment for issue of shares? Accounting treatment for what? Issue of shares. Issue of shares க்கு journal entry. Issue of shares க்கு I told you two classification. Issue of shares for cash. Second classification, issue of shares for consideration other than cash. One is issue of shares for cash. Second one is issue of shares for consideration other than cash. நம்ம இப்போ பார்க்கறது issue of shares for cash. அதில் two classification I told you. One is lump sum, another one is installment. If it is lump sum, one entry. What is the entry for lump sum? Bank account debit to share capital. If it is installment, அப்பதான் நிறைய entries இருக்கு. First installment we call it as application. Application related we have three basic entry. What are the three entry? First entry, bank to share application. What is the first entry? Bank to share application. Second entry, transfer of share application to share capital. Whatever application money we collected, that money should be transferred to share capital. அப்போ share capital will have credited. அப்போ in the next entry it is debited. அப்போ entry share application account debit to share capital. Rejection of share application. Share application money is received that is rejected by the shareholder. What is the entry? Share application account debit to bank. Share application account debit to bank. Share allotment order due. First companies we need to pass due entry. What is the entry for share allotment due? Share allotment account debit to share capital. Share allotment account debit to share capital. When allotment money is received, entry bank account debit to share allotment. When allotment money is received, entry is bank account debit to share allotment. When share call is due, entry share call account debit to share capital. When we receive the share call money, receipt entry bank account debit to share call. Again, one small consolidation. Just 1 minute. Just a minute, it is taking time for loading the page. Okay, fine. Today I am not well. I will try to take till 7:30, but எவ்வளோ நேரம் எடுக்க முடியுதோ எடுக்கிறேன். ஓகே, சரி, என்ன பார்த்துருக்கோம் அப்படின்னு சொல்கிறேன். டோட்டல் கேபிட்டல் ஆஃப் த கம்பெனி வி கால் இட் அஸ் ஷேர் கேபிட்டல். Okay, total capital of the company is called as share capital. This total capital is divided into equal parts. That equal part we call it as share. Various types of share capital. Maximum capital we call it as authorized capital. அதில் ஒரு பார்ட்டு issued capital. Issuedல ஒரு பார்ட்டு subscribed. Subscribedல ஒரு பார்ட்டு called up. Called upல ஒரு பார்ட்டு paid up. Paid up capital is equal to called up capital minus calls in arrears அப்படின்னு சொல்லி சொன்னேன். Next we discussed about journal entry. Then three types of installment. What are the three types of installment? First installment we call it as application. Second installment we call it as allotment. Third installment we call it as call. இதில் application related we have learned one thing, minimum application money. What is minimum application money? As per Companies Act, it is 5% of face value. As per SEBI guidance, it is 25% of issue price. Appa what is issue? Three types of issue we have. What are the three types of issue we have? One is called as first type of issue is called as issued at discount. Second type of issue is called as issued at par. Third type of issue is called as issued at premium. So what are the three types of issue? Issued at par, issued at discount, and issued at premium. Then three types of subscription. What are the three types of subscription? It is under subscription, full subscription, over subscription. இதில் under subscription we should be careful. How much percentage of the issue to be subscribed na? Minimum 90% of the issue to be subscribed. If 90% of the issue is not subscribed, whatever money we collected, that money should be refunded. Okay, what do you mean by full subscription? I issued 10,000 share. Public subscribe for 10,000 share. That is called as full subscription. I issued 10,000 shares. And a public subscribe for 14,000 share. That is called as over subscription. And we discussed about journal entry. What are the journal entry we discussed? Issue of shares related journal entry. Application, மொத்தம் three types of installment. Application, allotment, call. இதில் applicationல we discussed three entry. What are the entry? Bank account debit to share application. Then share application account should be transferred to share capital. அப்போ அதுக்கு entry share application account debit to share capital. Rejection entry share application account debit to bank. Next, share allotment order due. What is the entry for share allotment due? Share allotment account debit to share capital. Receipt entry bank account debit to share allotment. Share call due entry share call account debit to share capital. Receipt entry bank account debit to share call. That's all pa. இதான் entries படிச்சிருக்கோம். Okay, and இது related some questions we will see now. Yesterday we completed up to which question pa? Question number 108. Okay, take question number 109. Money received in advance. Money received in advance. Okay, before it is actually called up. பணம் முன்னாடியே வாங்கிட்டாங்க. இதுக்கு பேர் என்ன? மணி அந்த வேர்ட்லயே கொடுத்துட்டான் அட்வான்ஸ்னு. அப்போ இட் இஸ் கால்ஸ் இன் அட்வான்ஸ். சரி, calls in advance, when it is received, it will be debited or it is credited. When money is received, calls in advance account will be credited. Calls in advance account will be dash credited. So answer for this question number 109 is A. Next question relating to debentures. நம்ம இன்னும் இதை டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ணல, பட் ஓரலாக தியரின்றனால ஸ்ட்ரெயிட்டாக கூட டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ணலாம். Read it. Debentures in respect of which all the details, name of the debenture, அந்த person யார் debenture holder name, address, particulars, all the details are entered in register kept by the company. எல்லா டீட்டெயில்ஸும் இருந்தா அதுக்கு பேர் என்ன டிபெஞ்சர்னா ரெஜிஸ்டர்டு டிபெஞ்சர். ஸோ ஆன்சர் இஸ் சி. வாட் யூ மீன் பை bearer debenture? If it can be easily transferable to one person to another person, then it is called as bearer debenture. Redeemable debenture means if a debenture is repaid, that is called as redeemable debenture. If it is not repaid, that is called as irredeemable debenture. Irredeemable debentures is also called as perpetual debenture. If debentures are secured against the asset of the company, that is called as secured debenture. So in the question oda answer வந்து registered debenture. Next question number 111. The portion of the called up capital. Called up capital அது ஒரு பார்ட்னு சொல்றாங்க, which has been received by the shareholder. A portion of what capital? A portion of called up capital. Called up capital ஒரு பார்ட்னு சொல்றாங்க. First, maximum capital we call it as what capital? Authorized capital. அதில் ஒரு பார்ட் என்ன? issued capital. Issued capital ஒரு பார்ட் என்ன? subscribed capital. Subscribed capital ஒரு பார்ட் என்ன? called up capital. அப்போ called up capital ஒரு பார்ட் என்ன capital? paid up capital. So answer is option A. Read question number 112. Offer of securities or invitation to subscribe securities. Offer of securities or invitation to subscribe for securities to a selected group of person by a company other than by way of public offer. Direct public கொடுக்கல, but shares are offered to a selected group of people. Such thing we call it as private placement. So answer for this question is what na? Private placement. What do you mean by sweat equity shares? What do you mean by sweat equity shares? Sweat equity shares are shares issued to the employee. Sweat equity shares are what? Shares issued to the dash employee. Employee க்கு கொடுத்திருக்கிற shares we call it as what shares na? Sweat equity shares. What do you mean by incorporation cost? Incorporation cost na ஒரு to form a company, MOA will be prepared, AOA will be prepared. For drafting we will pay some expenditure and we will pay some ROC fees. These things we call it as incorporation expenses. Okay, then what do you mean by employee stock option? For the employees we will give some shares, that is called as employee stock option. Sir, what is the difference between sweat equity shares and employee stock option? In order to retain the employee in the company for a longer period of time, what is given? Na employee stock option plan is given. If employee want to purchase the share, he can purchase it. But sweat equity shares are not like that. Sweat equity shares are given to the promoters or directors for the invention made. Okay, ஒரு suppose you are working in a pharma sector, அந்த pharma sectorல you are making some new invention. For that, to encourage that, company is giving some shares. Such shares we call it as what shares na? Sweat equity shares. So இந்த question ஓட answer வந்து private placement of shares. Next question. amount of share capital which a company is authorized to issue. Amount of share capital which a company is authorized to issue and which is mentioned in MOA is called as what capital? The maximum capital. I told you, இதுக்கு alternative name கூட சொன்னேன். The maximum capital which the company can raise is called as what capital? Na? Authorized capital. Okay, this nominal capital is also called as what capital? Authorized capital. The nominal capital is also called as what capital? Authorized capital. Next one. According to Securities Exchange Board, minimum 90% of the issued capital should be subscribed. I told you, minimum subscription. Total 3 types of subscription I told you. What are the 3 types of subscription? Under subscription, full subscription, over subscription. In case of under subscription, I told you 90% of the issue to be subscribed. If 90% is not subscribed, whatever money we collected, such money should be refunded. Our answer for this question is issued capital. 90% of issued capital should be taken. Next, debentures on which a company doesn't have any undertaking for repayment of money borrowed. Debentures doesn't have any undertaking. Undertaking means promise for the repayment of money borrowed. Bearer debentures, registered debentures தவிர்த்து மற்றதை we call it as what? Bearer debenture. Secured debentures. Debentures are secured against the assets of the company. Perpetual debenture. So answer for this question is what? Perpetual debentures. It is also called as irredeemable debenture. Irredeemable. Debentures oda principal portion will not be paid. Only interest will be given. Such debenture we call it as what debenture? Irredeemable debenture. So company does not have any undertaking. Company does not have any obligation to repay the principal. It will be paid, only interest will be paid. Such a debenture we call it as irredeemable debenture. If the debentures are registered, then it is called as registered debenture. Next, question number 116. If number of debentures issued is more than the amount of net asset. If number of debentures issued, actually it should not be number of debentures issued, it should be amount of debentures அப்படின்னு இருக்கணும். This question is wrong. It should be not number of debenture, it should be amount of debentures issued. It should be amount of debentures issued is more than the amount of net asset. ஏன்னா இங்க அமௌண்ட்னு சொல்லியிருக்கான், அப்போ இங்கேயும் அமௌண்ட்டாக தான் இருக்கும். ரெண்டு அமௌண்ட்டை தான் கம்பேர் பண்ணோம். ஒன்று அமௌண்ட் இன்னொன்று ஷேர்ஸை டிபெஞ்சர்ஸை கம்பேர் பண்ணக்கூடாது. எனிவே ஆன்சர் ஃபார் திஸ் கொஸ்டின் இஸ் வாட்னா குட்வில். Goodwill is the answer. Okay, it is more than net asset. Debentures issued, நம்ம பேலன்ஸ் ஷீட்டை விஷுவலைஸ் பண்ணுங்க. Debentures issue பண்ணியிருக்கோம், liability, net asset, which one is more? It is debentures are more than net asset. Debentures 100, net asset 80. அப்போ பேலன்ஸ் ஷீட் டேலி ஆகல. We have a difference of 20. The 20 we call it as goodwill. அவ்வளோதான். Next, question number 117. If the forfeited shares are reissued, any balance left in forfeited shares is transferred to. இப்போ தான் அந்த நோட்ஸ் கொடுக்கும்போது சொன்னேன், லாஸ்ட் பார்ட். வாட் இஸ் த லாஸ்ட் பார்ட்? forfeiture of shares, reissue of shares அப்படின்னு நோட்ஸ் கொடுத்துருக்கேன் பாருங்க. அதில் லாஸ்ட்டாக I have given one notes. Gain on forfeiture minus loss on reissue, net amount is transferred to capital reserve. So answer for this question is C, capital reserve. இதுலேருந்து சம் வந்துடும். தியரிலாம் முடிஞ்சிடுச்சு. நிறைய நோட்ஸ் நிறைய டைம் கொடுத்தோம், ஒரு கன்சாலிடேட்டடாக நோட்ஸ் கொடுத்தோம். அதில் அக்கௌண்டிங் ட்ரீட்மெண்ட் வரைக்கும் எக்ஸ்பிளைன்டு. ஓகே, ஷேர் கேபிட்டல்னா என்னன்னு சொன்னேன், ஷேர்னா என்னன்னு சொன்னேன், டைப்ஸ் ஆஃப் ஷேர் கேபிட்டல், authorized capital, issued capital, subscribed capital, called up capital, paid up capital. அப்புறம் we discussed about issue of shares, two classification, ஒன்று cash, consideration other than cash. Cashல two classification, lump sum, installment. Installmentல three classification, application, allotment, call. Three types of issue, issued at par, issued at discount, issued at premium. Three types of subscription, under subscription, full subscription, over subscription. Minimum 90% of the issue to be subscribed by public. If 90% is not subscribed, whatever money we collected, that should be refunded. அப்புறம் journal entry லாம் பார்த்தோம். Next question. K Limited purchased a sundry assets of 28,60,000. Assets purchased. Consideration is issued by issuing shares of 100. The shares are issued at a premium of 10%. Find the number of shares issued to be Ganapati Limited. Go through this question. So first, in this question, asset is purchased. நம்ம ஓவராலாக சொல்லும்போது இஷ்யூ ஆஃப் ஷேர்ஸ் அப்படின்னு ஒரு டாபிக் சொன்னேன். இந்த இஷ்யூ ஆஃப் ஷேர்ஸில் ரெண்டு விஷயம் சொன்னேன். ஒன் ஃபார் கேஷ், செகண்ட் ஒன் ஃபார் கன்சிடரேஷன் அதர் தென் கேஷ். திஸ் வில் கம் அண்டர் செகண்ட் பார்ட், கன்சிடரேஷன் அதர் தென் கேஷ். இதில் ஐ டோல்ட் யூ டூ திங்ஸ், ஃபார் அசட் பர்ச்சேஸ் ஆர் ஃபார் promoters money will be given. இங்கே asset is purchase. First, what are the journal entry? Asset account debit to Ganapati Limited. What is the first entry? Asset account debit to Ganapati Limited. அப்போ 28,60,000 to Ganapati Limited, 28,60,000. Now to Ganapati Limited, we need to issue the shares. How to issue shares to Ganapati Limited? It is very simple. It is very simple. Ganapati Limited we need to pay. How much we need to pay? 28,60,000 we need to pay. 28,60,000 is called as consideration. How to find out number of debentures issued? Consideration divided by issue price. What is issue price? I already told you. Issue price is nothing but face value plus premium or face value minus discount. But இங்கே வந்து premium தான் இருக்கு. Issue of shares at discount is void. Only sweat equity shares can be issued at discount. அதனால் discount mostly இருக்காது. Only premium will be there. அப்போ issue price is equal to face value. Face value is 100 and premium is 10. அப்போ 100 plus 10, 110. அப்போ first find how many number of debentures to be issued. 28,60,000 divided by 110. Tell me what is 28,60,000 divided by 110. 28,60,000 divided by 110 will give you எவ்வளோப்பா? 26,000. This 26,000 number of shares to be issued. What is the another journal entry? Ganapati Limited account debit. Ganapati Limited account debit to share capital. Ganapati Limited account debit to share capital to securities premium. Ganapati Limited account debit to share capital to securities premium. Ganapati Limited we are giving 26,000 share. At what price? 110. 26,000 into 110 will give you 28,60,000. Share capital 26,000 into 100. 26,000 into 100 will give you 26 lakh. 26,000 into 100 will give you 26 lakh. And 26,000 into 10 will give you 2 lakh and 60,000. This is the amount to be credited with securities premium. So அப்போ டோட்டலாக 3 ஸ்டெப். ஃபஸ்ட்டு அசட்டோட என்ட்ரி, அசட் டு கிரெடிட்டார், அசட் டு வெண்டார். செகண்ட் என்ட்ரி, vendor account debit to share capital to securities premium. In order to find how many number of shares to be issued, it is consideration divided by issue price. What is issue price? It is face value 100, premium is 10, 110 is the issue price. அப்போ டோட்டலாக 28 lakh 60,000 divided by 110 will give you 26,000 number of shares to be issued. Then this 26,000 to be multiplied, then you will be getting the answer. Next, try question number 119. Previous question solve பண்ணோம்ல, அதே மாதிரி question தான். Question number 119 நீங்கள் தான் try பண்ண போறீங்க. Try question number 119. C Limited purchased a machinery from Neo. அப்போ machinery is purchased. First entry இதை வச்சே சொல்லிடலாம். Machinery account debit to Neo. And it is agreed that purchase consideration will be issued by number of shares. How many shares issued ன்னு சொல்லிட்டான். How many number of shares issued னா 10,000 shares issued. At 10%, 10 each at a premium of 10%. Premium is 10%. Face value of the share is 10. அப்போ what is the issue price of the share? 10 rupees is the face value and premium is 10%, and 10% on 10 will give you 1 rupee. In addition to this, we also paid by a bank draft. How much is bank draft we have paid? Bank மூலமா check ஒரு DD எடுத்து கொடுத்துருக்கோம். How much DD we have given? 50,000. Question order requirement: pass necessary journal entry for the above transaction. 2 entries you should pass. Quickly try this question. Total 2 entries you should pass. Asset purchase you should pass 1 entry. Consideration payment ku ஒரு entry. That's all. Previous question மாதிரி தான். Quickly try. Can we discuss answer? First entry, purchase of machinery. What is the entry? Machinery account debit to Neo Limited. For how much amount we don't know. Second entry, Neo Limited account debit to share capital to securities premium. Also we have to bank. Bank மூலமா how much is paid na 50,000 is paid by way of bank. Share capital க்கு 10,000 shares into 10 rupees. 10,000 into 10 will give you 1 lakh. For securities premium, 10,000 into 1. 10,000 into 1 will give you 10,000. அப்போ டோட்டலா for Neo Limited how much we paid na 1,60,000 is paid. அப்போ மிஷினரியோட வேல்யூ it is 1,60,000. So journal entry, machinery account debit to Neo Limited. Second entry, Neo Limited account debit to share capital. Neo limited account debit to securities premium, Neo limited account debit to bank. That's all. Question number 120. As per provisions of Companies Act, securities premium cannot be used for buyback of shares இருக்கு, issue of bonus shares இருக்கு, preliminary expense we have, this one we don't have. So answer is option C. Option C is the answer. Next question. Next question. If vendor issued fully paid shares of rupees 1,25,000, number of shares illa rupees 1,25,000, share capital it is 1,25,000, and net asset it is 1,50,000. அப்போ we have a balance of 25,000. எந்த சைடு கம்மியா இருக்கு? Which side is less? Liability side is less. அப்போ difference is transferred to capital reserve. If asset side is less, then it is called as goodwill. If liability side is less, it is called as capital reserve. So answer for this question is capital reserve. So with this we completed 121 questions. Now we will proceed further to the next adjustment. V Limited, next question, V Limited subscribe for 90,000 equity shares of rupees 10 each at a premium of 10%. அப்போ 10 rupees face value, 10% premium. அப்போ issue price is equal to 11. 10 rupees face value, premium is 10%, so issue price is equal to 11. Entire amount is payable on application. அப்போ இங்க we don't have a concept of pro rata allotment. Pro rata allotment in the concept illa, entire amount is paid on application. Lump sum entire amount is paid. How many shares are issued for public? Issued capital is 90,000. What is the share price? 10 rupees. Premium is 10%. அப்போ total 11 rupees. The applications were received for 1 lakh. We cannot allot 1 lakh because we issued only how many shares? 90,000 shares. 90,000 shares, and allotment was made to all applicant on pro rata basis. Pro rata என்ற concept illa, they have in order to confuse it, they have given the they have given pro rata, but here there is no concept of pro rata and all. Okay, so we have issued 90,000 and we received application for 1 lakh. This is over subscription. Entire amount is paid on application. Since entire amount is paid on application, there is no concept of pro rata allotment. What is the amount received on application? It is 90,000 shares into 11 rupees. 90,000 into 11 will give you 9,90,000. 90,000 into 11 will give you 9,90,000. Okay, next. V Limited invited application for 6,000 equity shares of rupees 10 each at a premium of 10%. So face value 10, premium is 10. The issue was fully subscribed. The amount is payable as follows. Application 3, allotment 3. Allotment 3 is including premium, and first and final call it is 3. First call it is 3 and final call it is 2. Ashish, a holder of 200 share, paid the entire amount along with allotment. Total amount received on allotment. What is the total amount received on allotment? They are asking. So you try this question and tell me the answer. Online friends, kindly tell the answer. 6,000 application, allotment price 3 rupees. 6,000 into 3, 18,000. Also, Ashish, a holder of 200 shares. He paid the entire money. Entire money is paid na. First call oda money is paid 3 rupees. Final call is 2. Appa 3 plus 2 is paid 5 rupees. Appa 200 into 5 will give you 1000. Appa what is the amount received on allotment? 19,000 is the money received on allotment. Okay. So with this I will stop for today's class as I am not well. Forfeiture is an important concept that we will take up in next class. So next class we will take up the other concepts. Okay. So we will continue in next class. Bye bye.